get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but sure, never for me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bank. Try that and up, stay forward to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to sing. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bank. Try that and up, stay forward to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I say, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run.
Yo, what is up, 24/7 BF? It's Tuesday. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that can only mean one thing. You're watching the K-Gun Report. That's right. My favorite time of the week. Guys, we have a very special guest. Along with the Reed twins, we also have Robyn Mundy joining us tonight, and we're super stoked for this. We're going to go over the Chicago Bears games, how fast you guys hitting this panic button right now. We're going to look forward to this joint practice, get over some injuries and some training camp stuff, all sorts of good stuff leading up to this season that's right around the corner. I'm going to hit this intro, and we're going to get right into it. Here we are, and here it is on another beautiful Tuesday. Guys, it's the K-Gun Report. We were having just a little bit of trouble with Facebook, so it looks like you guys are getting comments in right now. Thank you so much. It was Mama Swank's 61st birthday today, so I was running around like a madman. And now we're here, and I'm glad to be here. Before I introduce the regulars that you guys already know, it's Old Hat right below me. I'm so excited. It's actually the first time that we get to live stream together. I've loved this woman's work for a very long time. This is the editor-in-chief of the Buff Fan Base and the co-host of Tea Time with Robyn right here on the Buff Fan Base Network, the amazing Robyn Mundy's with us. Robyn, how's it going tonight?
Hey, I'm so honored to be with you guys. This intro music is nice.
You like that?
Yeah, I really do.
Nice. That's my band, yeah.
Swank loves to hear that. He's like, you really do like that? That's like,
I do. That's like mood music, right? Like it puts you in the right frame of mind. But I really appreciate being on the show. So thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. Right diagonal from me. Yeah, right over there. Yeah. That's my boy. He looks just like this guy right here. That's Jumpin' Jerry Reed. Jerry, what's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm just excited to have Robyn finally on. Robyn, this has been in the works with us three for a while now. We were like, we got to get around. And finally, we were like, let's do it. And welcome to the show. Let's talk football. I read your article on X. It was beautiful. If you haven't yet, go join Robyn Mundy YWO on X and just read everything she writes. It's perfect.
WYO.
WYO. YWO. You're sounding something completely different.
All right, dude. It was like a half dyslexic thing. Hey, now I got it.
Makes sense.
Now you'll never forget, Jerry. Never.
Go Bills.
Right next to me is my brother from another mother. This is the second part of the terrible twin trio. Can I be a twin?
Well, I don't know, Swank. Just recently you said your beard and everything was strawberry blonde and not red. So I don't know.
Not red. Yeah, it's not red.
I love how fast you're not red. It's not red. All right.
I've been called a redhead for a very long time, but I got dirty blonde hair, and you guys can see it right here.
Well, so do I. So do I.
Well, it's sunburn. But anyway, this is my dude, Scooter Magooter. Scott, what do you got?
What's up, Bills Mafia? No time. I'll throw this out there because I know Jared's ready to say it. When the Bills made the Super Bowl all 4 years, they won diddly squat. One diddly squat in the preseason. It doesn't mean anything. Preseason is nothing. So don't hit the panic button. Put that little red button to the side. We're all set. If you need your therapy session to get over it, this is the place to be. Welcome every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, the K-Gun Report. Love it, love it, love it. Go Bills.
Wow, there's a lot there to unpack, and my brain's processing it. And yes, that was very good. Thank you, Scooter. Guys, every single person on your screen right now is part of the Buff fan base, which means this show is part of the Buff fan base network. We're super proud to be. We've been here for over 2 years now. I think it's getting around 2 years. Yeah. It's been nothing but great times. As part of that, we are sponsored by 26 Shirts. Go to 26shirts.com. Go see what Del Reed and the gang got cooking up. It's the freshest threads. You can help out a family right in Western New York, and you can look fly while doing it. It's amazing. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win. I keep adding a win every week, Robyn. That's the joke. We got a bunch of people in the comments tonight. We're going to talk training camp. We're going to talk the Chicago Bears game. We're going to talk Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to talk whatever you guys want to talk about, man. Robyn, there's also another thing that goes on in this show where during our draft show, we do like a 4-hour draft marathon.
I remember that. I saw it.
You were on it. Yeah, you were on it a couple of years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jarrod was dragging his R's a little bit. And that was all the way back in April that this happened. And our viewers will not let him forget it. So we get things like this. Ready for another great show. Thanks, Corey. What's up, brother? Appreciate you tuning in. We got Doug A saying, hey, all. Totally Tuesday. Go Bills. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you for watching. We got the amazing Joey Hatch. What's up, my fellow Bills brothers and sisters? What's up, buddy?
Be good.
Joshua Williams, hey, let's go Buffalo. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The doc is in, Mr. Dr. Bruce. Dr. Bruce McKellar, who is a content creator over at 247buffpandemonium.com, puts out the injury report. I think he's going to have a little something to say more now, unfortunately, about Matt Milano. So keep your eyes peeled on 247buffpandemonium.com. We got Patrick Hughes. What's up, Mafia? How are we all doing?
Patrick.
We got Cookie. What's up, dudes? How you doing, Cookie? Johns. Hey, everybody. Remember, it's only preseason. Good. Nice temperament. I like that going in right off the get. We got Uncle James saying, what's up, Mafia? What's up, James? Adam, what's up, Mafia? Happy K-Gun Tuesday. Lots of stuff to discuss. Welcome, Robyn. Go Bills.
Go Bills is right.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you guys wishing my mom happy birthday. Thank you guys so much.
Happy birthday, Mom.
None of this would have been possible without her. I'm just saying, like no K-Gun without Mom Swank. That's it.
Or Dad Swank, too. But we don't
Yeah. I mean, they all had their part to play in the ordeal. Let's just leave it there. All right.
Go back to health class. You'll figure it
out. Robyn, everybody's loving that you're here. So many welcomes coming in across the board.
Love being here. Thanks, Bruce.
Robyn, you were throwing up the Wyoming jersey.
Yeah.
Is that Josh Allen's Wyoming jersey, or is it just a Wyoming? Oh, straight up.
Beautiful.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I've been watching, you guys, I've been watching Josh Allen since he was a sophomore at the University of Wyoming. He came in, he was maybe 180 pounds, something like that. And at the time, he was probably 6'2", maybe a little more than that. Skinny as a rail. He came in with such great hope. And then 2 games into that season, he busted his clavicle. And so he was put on ice for the rest of the year. And at that point, I had seen the first 2 games, and it was like I couldn't get enough.
Mhm.
I mean, you could honestly see the thing in him. If you watched him play regularly at Wyoming, you could see that it thing in him then. It still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. He's ours. It still blows my mind. Like
That's incredible.
Wyoming, and this has just coalesced my life because I've lived in Wyoming for 31 years now.
Oh,
Longer
wow.
than I grew up in Western New York. I
Wow.
lived in Western New York till I was about 26. And so this was like a melt of my minds, of my 2 worlds when he was drafted by the Bills. I was hopeful, but I didn't want to go there. Everybody was talking about Josh Rosen, at the
Mhm.
time, and everybody's talking about other players. And I just kept saying, you guys, if the Bills draft him, you won't be sorry. And we never looked back.
Mm-mm.
This
Have
is a
been
beautiful
sorry.
perspective because a lot of Bills fans know Josh Allen from what we saw in highlights
Right.
to the draft.
Right.
And with you being a Wyoming fan, it's like you kind of
Oh, the games, you guys, he was so interesting. And you can't see this. Like, if you go back to his highlights, they don't show what Josh Allen did on the sidelines
Mhm.
during games because he was crazy on the sidelines. He's going up and down and yelling at the defense and getting everybody revved up and ready to go. And everybody's looking around like, "Ooh, who is this dude?" And then he threw the ball about 80 yards through the air because it's 7,000 feet above sea level. And
Right.
he literally can throw the ball 80 yards in Laramie, Wyoming. It's just,
Wow.
he was unbelievable. But yes, so you got to the backstory if you followed him at Wyoming. And his junior year was when he really broke out. His senior year wasn't quite as good because he lost a couple of his good receivers. And let's face it, Wyoming is like UB. Okay, they're Division I, but they're second tier Division I, and their offensive line always sucked. It seriously sucked. Poor Josh, you wonder where he learned how to run for his
Yeah, right.
life. It was there. It was at Laramie. So yeah, loads of stories. Sometime we'll get on a show and talk about it during the off season if you like, because I got tons
too.
of Josh Allen stories to tell. But oh God, so glad he's with our team.
Yeah.
He's absolutely the dude that we needed at exactly the time that we got him. I mean, between the drought and coming off like the 90s like hangover of like, but we're always just good. Like what's going on? How come we're not good now for all these years? And then this dude who writes a million letters to a million colleges and scraps his way into a starting position and just works his ass off and comes here and puts everything he's got out on the table and loves Buffalo the way he does and
Love,
performs the way he does. It's
love.
just, I mean, it's all that darkness that was there for those years is completely washed away for me with Josh Allen being here.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, Green Light by Chris Long did almost like a 45-minute interview with Josh Allen. It's on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, it's the best interview I've ever seen of Josh Allen.
Really?
And you will absolutely love it because he goes into what he feels about being in Buffalo and all of the things that go through his mind about winning a Super Bowl trophy for Buffalo and why Buffalo was the right fit for him. And isn't it refreshing to hear that coming from a superstar player that he gets it? I mean, he gets it on all levels. So check it out if you haven't checked it out.
think I got it right here, and I'm gonna link it in the comments for you guys.
That's what I was just looking for, Swank.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
did you hear that? There was another interview recently where he was asked if you could guarantee Buffalo a Super Bowl championship next year, if you retired this year, would you do it? And he goes, I would retire this year if you can guarantee me they win the Super Bowl next year. So he wants Buffalo to win.
I want him to stay. He can just stay.
Yeah, we want him to stay, but to guarantee a Super Bowl, he said yes, he'd retire.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the guy's got the world by the you know what. I mean, he's gonna have a life after football. I mean, some of the shtick that he does is pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's comical. He's an entertainer. He's got all these side deals by the grip, like you're talking about, and he's got a relationship that he's absolutely in love with, and it's such an awesome thing to see and not see on social media, because that's the way social media is. He's in love, and he told who was it, Maddie Glab, or hold on, who was the lady that used to co-host Good Morning Football?
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Kate Adams.
Kate Adams.
Kate Adams. He had an interview with her, and he's like, love is love. And that's how he is. He's 100% in where he's at. And that's the beautiful thing about Josh Allen. Wherever he is at, he's 100% there.
And he's looking to me to just add to what you're saying about his personal life. You can tell his life is settled now. Mm-hmm. And that's an important thing that I think, for people that may not know me, I was in another lifetime before I retired. I was a psychotherapist, and I was an oncology nurse, and I worked at Roswell Park in Buffalo for a number of years. So I have some experience with the mental and the physical aspects of being well and staying well. And Josh, you could tell he was getting worn down. We all saw what happened to him at the Bengals game. You know, that was a nadir, I think, for him professionally. And I do believe that we all know this, right? Like when our personal life isn't working real well, it can affect our work life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It absolutely can. And when you're playing at that level, having that kind of pressure and the kind of expectations that he had in his life, this is much better. He is at his zenith right now, and he's firing on all cylinders. And I expect him to have a really good year. This year might be like 2020, just like 2020 was nuts. And then things kind of settled back for a variety of reasons. But Josh is Josh. Love is love, you know.
I love it. When you were talking about how young you looked back in Wyoming, all I was thinking about was like the pitcher comparisons season to season that have been popping up this season, where it's like he looks like a little boy, like his rookie year, and now all of a sudden he's just like this powerhouse dude, and you're like living it and seeing it on the field. You're like, what do you mean? Like that dude's just always been that dude. But you see those two pitchers, like it's got to be kind of like, like when you're looking at your kids, right? And you're like, when did they grow up? And like that's how I feel about this. Is like, oh my God, man! Like there's just like a certain sense of maturity that's come like with what you're saying about the settling, and also growing up and just being where he's at, and 7
years in.
That's the thing. The kids are kids. 7 years, really. My kid's 7 years old now. Yeah. That's what it really does feel like. That it does feel like that with Josh Allen. Holy shit, 7! Oh, I can't wait to see he's done by the time he's 14.
There's 7-year-olds that have never known a Buffalo Bills team that wasn't led by Josh Allen, by the way.
I know. Yep.
Those little bastards. Anyway, guys, you guys are killing it in the comments. Thank you so much. I'm trying to do a way better job of staying up on stuff. But Dr. Bruce brings up this little tidbit here, and I want to hit on it. We had an injury today at training camp. Unfortunately, it was Matt Milano. It was an arm injury. Dr. Bruce got asked what was going on, and he came in with this. Milano hurt during tackling drills today. Lots of speculation on the injury. It actually appears to be a mild issue with the left elbow, maybe a nerve stinger of the funny bone. So hopefully the good doctor here, he's got it all right. And, we need to protect Matt Milano at all costs.
There was one of his 45 biceps that probably got
Yeah,
hurt.
it could have been.
There was speculation that it was a bicep tear, and I don't know if you guys ever seen one, but you get the Popeye arm, and it looks like a little bubble on your arm. And we actually had a player that everyone loves that used to be on the Bills, number 57, Lorenzo Alexander. He had a Popeye arm. He must have had a torn bicep at one point in his career, but that's what it would look like. And from the pictures, it didn't look like it. Dr. Bruce saying it's an elbow. I'm glad it's on that side, because what he'll do is put a sleeve on it like Allen's got on his arm, and that'll protect it a little bit more.
You'll say, Robyn, I'm a nurse as well. I know you're in the health field. And Jarrod is a massage therapist, so he knows the kinesiology and the
you got it.
Stuff, so.
You know, you speak my language. You speak my language. Yeah, you know that Matt Milano elbow.
Swank helps the soul. We help and the body. We help heal the body. So
I grow my hair long and play music, and that's it.
Everybody breathes and goes, ooh, right? Yeah. Matt Milano, back to his elbow for a second. He injured that, if I'm not mistaken, last year as well. I read that somewhere today, that was an injury that he had, and it had to be early because he went out pretty early in the season. But it's just a little worrisome. And I just have to say, if there's anything throughout this entire offseason that I have been lamenting, it's been him, because I'm very worried. A tibial plateau fracture of the leg is something like akin to an Achilles in terms of the return. And so it's so serious. And then when you hear this with his elbow, and it's kind of like, okay, are we really glad that we saw Dorian Williams looking real good the other night? Because that's my hot spot. My positive thing about that Bears game was I thought Dorian looked really good. And we need him to look really good.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, let's roll right into it, man. I love hitting this game, especially with positives right out the gate, because if you go to Twitter, Rome is burning right now and all that good stuff. As usually these things happen. It is week 1 of preseason in the NFL. Josh Allen played 7 snaps or so. I don't know. I'm not getting totally out of sorts about this. I do wish, as all of you wish, that they would have came in with a simplified game plan and forced their will into the 4th string, and that last guy, number 89 on the roster, was really fighting for a position. That's just not what the case is. So I love that bright light. So Dorian Williams, what did you love specifically about Dorian Williams, Robyn?
I liked the way that his instincts to the ball now are improved, because for the first 2 years, and in fairness to him, he's Tulane, right? I think he came out of Tulane. The defensive program there was very different. The scheme was very different. And when they come from a completely different scheme and try to get into melding into Sean McDermott's 4-2-5, it can be tricky. And I don't think he instinctively fit in, kind of like we saw Milano go back a few years when Milano first started playing. It was like he walked on the field and had been a vet for 2 years already. That was not the case with Dorian, in my opinion. It took him a while to be able to feel like he had a feeling for this defense. But I see it now. And I thought in the game, his instincts were great. His tackling was good, very good. And that's what we need from him, right?
I agree 100%. Last year, we all know how McDermott is when it comes to playing the rookies or playing the young bucks. And last year, our linebacker core, other than Bernard and Milano, we're like, oh my God, now we got AJ Klein, who we do love here at 24/7 Buff Pandemonium, but there was just a drop off. And now,
I'm sorry, just to pause really fast. Maybe joining the show early fall coming up here, Mr. Caveman Klein. Just a little.
Woohoo!
Anyway, sorry. Continue, Scott.
But I'm with you, Robyn. I'm on that. Dorian Williams looked okay as a rookie, but to see him flying around 4 tackles, 2 unassisted and a sack, a push out of bounds that they give him credit for.
His back score, good.
He was flying around, and he fits the mold for the Bills linebacker. They like those 6 foot to 6'2" guys that can fly around the ball. And under this McDermott offense, guys, as long as it's not that simple of a defense. I'm sorry, I said offense. It's not that simple of a defense. It's a very complex defense because they protect the back zones with the safeties, and they expect those linebackers to do a lot. And he's catching on. He really is. And I agree with you 100%. He definitely was a highlight. And it's nice to see that if Bernard or Milano, and I think Williams could play both. If Bernard or Milano has to take a breather, or God forbid they get hurt and they're out for a couple games, he's definitely someone that is very impressive. I know it's only preseason, and I know Josh Allen even alluded to it, guys. They don't study a lot of film. So I like what McDermott does with that. He says, go out and play basic football. We need to evaluate based on instincts rather than film, because we all know you guys can study the film. Dorian Williams was flying around as if he already knew what the Chicago Bears were doing. So that is a very good insight to have our depth and future starter for the Buffalo Bills.
Either position. That's versatility is like McDermott's Bible. That's right in the front page of his Bible. And all those players on the back end too, getting around. Cam Lewis playing some safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think Dorian's like one of those dudes that is just a very physical player. Like when he pops somebody, you feel it. The few chances he's gotten and he's actually squared up and gotten a hold of somebody, it's like this dude has flashes to me of a rough Matt Milano or a rough a bruiser. And those are the kind of instincts that you absolutely need. So I'm very stoked on him. I wish that Spector would get there because he's also kind of in that mold, but he just doesn't seem to be able to get over that hump. So I'm glad Dorian, to me, it seems like he's going to be quality depth and a win in the Sean McDermott department for sure.
Yeah, I like to compare him a little bit to Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid played a lot last year, and you saw him gradually get better, and by the end of the last quarter of the season, he was spot on going. Dorian Williams didn't get that much playing time compared to him, but you could see him gradually getting better. And by the time the playoffs came, he was putting his helmet on people. He was hitting hard, and it's carrying over already to this season where he's kind of picking up where he left off. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful to see Robyn, his pursuit, his recognition. He was by the ball every time. He didn't necessarily make all the tackles. I think he had 6 total, but he was still round the ball every time that game
absolutely
play. So it's a great spotlight.
That was so good to see.
Absolutely.
And like I was talking, Swank, like this preseason game was not fun to watch for any Bills fan because, of course, you want them to win and put their will on these guys because we're a playoff team every year. But preseason games are an evaluation of every player. And if you can play every position at a basic, that's what McDermott's looking for, without any preparation. If you can make the read to the run, the read to the pass, drop back and get your respective zones and make tackles and be around the ball like Dorian Williams was, that's plus. You may not get all the tackles in the world, but if you're doing all the right things right now for the Buffalo Bills, you're going to make that roster, and that's what it's all about.
I don't think he drew a penalty either, which would be a huge plus in the McDermott department as well. If we're keeping on with positives here, Dr. Bruce wants to talk a little bit about the wide receiver room. Said Shakir looked good, Coleman looks like the real deal, and then says Dorian is fast and has figured it out. Hell yeah. We didn't see a lot from the wide receiver crew as far as I wanted to see a lot more of Curtis Samuel. I wanted to see Coleman take a 70-yard bomb right off the get from Josh Allen and dance in the end zone. I loved that quick out to Samuel on that second drive from Josh Allen. It just looks like that's going to be their money maker at times, and I love it. Robyn, what'd you think about Curtis Samuel, that little play there?
That little play was kind of interesting because that's not Josh Allen's forte.
No.
Trust me. At Wyoming, we always used to joke about him being able to throw a 70-yard pass better than he could a 5-yard dump off. And that's his thing because he's not patient, right? That dink and dunk little stuff, that's not Josh's personality at all.
And he wants it all.
Yeah, now, all of it on this play right now. And that's fine, but the little dump offs and the things that we're going to see him do with Curtis Samuel, I think, are going to bring out a different part of his game that we haven't seen before.
It's going to open up those big ones too.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. Josh Allen, we always say on the show, Robyn, Josh Allen picks up something every year. There's one thing he really works on every year.
Yes.
And he brings in what he brought last year, but he also brings in something new.
Yep.
That screen pass, exactly. Josh Allen's looking to put a ball 70 yards downfield. But the fact that not only was he able to complete that, it was a sidearm to get it underneath the defensive end that was released and let free.
Yes.
So that was a beautiful thing. And the thing that I love about Joe Brady right now, guys, is that he used those same exact plays last year with Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs is not the guy that you can use those screens for.
Yeah.
True.
Curtis Samuel is. You take that very small sample of Diggs and Samuel, and you'll understand that Samuel is a perfect wide receiver for those plays. And that's the cream of the crop right there. That's the guy you want. Joe Brady's chomping at the bit to continue to do that. And like Jarrod said, guess what? Those corners are going to start pressing. They're going to start cheating. Fake screen, deep ball the other way to Keon Coleman. Boop, 7.
Yeah. I like that. So what was that was a nice sound effect, the boop. I like that.
There's a button I have right here.
Well, if we're looking at this from I don't know, personnel perspective, right? The things that Josh Allen has always done is try to air it out, try to get more than 10 yards at a clip, try to make the big play. But right now you got James Cook, who can catch a ball out of the backfield mostly, hopefully, more than he did last year. A couple of drops he had, right? Dalton Kincaid, like amazing. Across the middle, short gainers, wherever you want to be. Knox has proven to be a reliable target in the center of the field. You got Curtis Samuel, you got Khalil Shakir, you got all these dudes that are available now for those shorter passes, and you have a plethora of guys that can still make that long burn, that run. Like I see Shakir with some of the best hands in the NFL, proven by last year's performance, and he's not a slouch. He's caught those long balls. He is fast. He is decisive with his route running, and he's got great hands. So I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. Also, Curtis Samuel, we know that he's ran a fast 40. We know that he's a quick dude, and he can do more than advertised, not to mention the Keon Colemans and all that. So I think there's a lot more variety that we can see out of this offense, and you're not going to get that in the preseason. If you're looking for any of this stuff right now, you're not going to see it. They're not going to show their hand. So part of that can get pushed down with all the worry you got that, like, okay, this is very vanilla. This is just, like you're saying, an effort. Don't make dumb penalties. Don't blow tackles. Do your job. That's all they want. Do your job and do it better than the guys that are in front of you.
You want to know what's evident of that? 2 runs on the first drive.
Yeah.
They don't want to show anything. I know Bills fans wanted the Buffalo Bills to come out and say, Josh Allen wants to throw the ball. He's got to throw to Keon Coleman on the first drive. Let's see all this. It's not going to happen. They ran the ball twice on the first drive. It was very vanilla, and it wasn't very exciting, but they're not – they're going to show what they obviously do, the RPOs, the quick decision-making passes. They're going to show a screen, yada, yada, yada. But it's preseason. I mean, the line may have a little bit to work on, but –
yeah, a little bit of run blocking. I think that's the rhythm in the run blocking's got to get worked on a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's Cromer, right? Like last year, I think we saw the same thing in the preseason. Everybody was sweating bullets, and it's Cromer's job. He'll fix it. And Cromer is the guy.
One of the best.
Can you guys believe, seriously, I have to just ask you this, because it freaked me out. I've watched a lot of football. I have never seen a season where the offensive line played all 5 positions. Nobody came off the field the whole season.
Never. Never once. Insane. Also, one of 2 quarterbacks in the entire league that played every single game.
Yep.
So, I mean, those 2 things to me have to be linked. Absolutely. But, yeah, it's a great point. Like, to me, I don't think there's a whole lot of worry either as far as, like, the shifting. I think Connor's going to do a good job. in center. I think they'll get their flow and everything will be good. I don't know. It's just we all want it now. We want it right now.
Again, bits and pieces. Like Scott mentioned earlier in the show, they went 0-16 during the preseason. Marv Levy was the preseason's there to hone on the talent that you have on a team and find the guys that are going to continue this dynasty, whatever you want to call it. So focus not so much on winning the game or what the starters are doing, but pay attention to the second and third stringers that are coming in. Even the smallest little plays that they make could make their roster spot for them, and that's what we're looking for to bring it as a whole when September comes around. So I know we want to win. It's still competitive, but that's what it's coming down to. When you have a good team, preseason is to get those little bits and pieces finally tuned so you can be successful throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
To see how much depth you have at at every position, you've got to see the depth, and I'm hard pressed to think of more talented group of offensive linemen all together than this group that they have now, because Ryan Vandermark, I don't know what you guys thought, but when he played last year, when he had to sub in occasionally here or there for a few plays, I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
I thought he looked really good. They've got guys in the cooker, and it's Cromer's excellence at, in my opinion, teaching to the talent of the player.
Yep.
Rather than teaching a specific technique. This is how you do this. No, this is how Spencer Brown needs to do this, because Spencer Brown has a different set of dimensions than Deion Dawkins does.
Yeah.
So how you would teach Deion would be very different than how you would teach Spencer Brown, given the same position. But that's the beauty of Cromer. And I'm like, Pagula, just the checkbook. Just make the highest paid offensive line coach in history from now until eternity, until he wants to retire.
Yep.
And if people have heard me on other podcasts, they know that I'm all about the lines. I love the skill positions, don't get me wrong, but to me, a football team lives and dies on the front lines. And
the trenches.
Yes, it's all about the trenches. And the defensive line, same thing. It's all about what's up front. And this year, I was worried more about our defense than our offense, because we got Bobby in the Box. That was the name of our last podcast. Bobby in the Box. Bobby Babbage doing Bobby Babbage things is going to be so good for this defense, because there's new guys, and Bobby has worked at every position line along the way. So Bobby knows defense. And these players are giving me a lot more confidence than I had originally, thinking, we've got so many new players on the back end. Well, Khair Elam, is starting to look like the light's going on, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fresh slate coming in. How crazy would it be if all of a sudden everything clicked with him? Bobby was able to wrap his hands around his head and he was able to just be what they wanted him to be. How huge would that be for this defense this year? Crazy. I hope so for the kid.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do
love
too. He has had a rough go of it. And I think people were kind of unfair in their expectation of him, because he was another person who came from a completely different system that Ohio State had. They played man-to-man. He didn't play any of this zone stuff. And so he comes in and he doesn't know which end is up. And it takes a while for corners. As I understand it, and I never played football, but as I understand it, the corner position is one of the more difficult positions to go from college to the pros. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's right, because it's more defense in general is more reactive than proactive.
Yeah.
So offensive linemen, linebackers have a lot more to read, because they can watch the off linemen and all that stuff. Mark Maddox speaks to it all the time. You want to know what the play is going to be, read the off guard, the weak side guard. He'll tell you everything. Mm-hmm. Corners, they not only do they have someone to read as far as I'm watching a route, whether it's a zone or a man, but I also got to make sure if there's a sweep to the outside or a reverse, I got to respect my area and either follow the guy for the reverse or get ready to make a tackle on somebody that's probably 40 pounds heavier than they are.
Right.
So defensive back is a very hard position. And when you run a man defense all the time, it's all reactive based on those guys' movements. And now you're asked to just drop back in the zone and not do something that you've done for 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone's coming to me, I'm going to go grab them. No, I got to stay in my zone. So it's all
exactly.
Some people will say it's the NFL. You're that caliber, you should be able to pick it up. But when you're trained for so long, for 4 years, Kyer Elam did it for so long at Florida, and now you're asking him to just chill out in that zone. It's hard.
It's meant exactly because you can't undo prior learning easily, especially at that level when the intensity is so high and your brain is just functioning on autopilot. And
muscle memory, yeah.
And you're just going at it like instantly. And you could see at least I thought toward the end of last season, you could see that some of the lights were going on for Kyer a little bit. And kind of like Dorian, in a way, maybe there's carryover from the end of last season. Maybe this training camp is giving him some extra juice. Maybe he's feeling like in his third year, he feels like he's coming into his own a little bit. Sometimes it takes guys a little longer. Not everybody's Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious came in and boom, he played. But not everybody can function at that level as a rookie, especially in that position.
Well, that's a beautiful point you brought up, because when he came in, everybody's talking about Tre'Davious White, and this guy's going to be the opposite side of him, and it's going to be an amazing defense. That's a lot of pressure no matter how you look at it.
Yes.
And then the Bills draft Benford. So not only do you have, now I got to be Tre'Davious White's CB2, but the Bills drafted another cornerback that potentially is going to put me up for a roster spot. That's a lot of psychological stuff that's in your head, and I got to learn a whole zone defense rather than I'm sorry, guys. You come to the NFL, there's a lot to learn still, and there's a lot of psychological stuff that could take over, just like injuries. Your knee might be fully healed, but your body has to trust what it's doing, and sometimes it takes people a lot longer for that to happen than just to be, I'm an NFL player, I should be able to do it.
I think that a lot of Mafia members, football fans in general, get really caught up in what was as opposed to what is, you know what I mean? And with the physical and the mental part of all of these games, the personality of the person coming in makes a huge difference. We've seen people with horrible attitudes that have every physical trait that you could possibly give them fail because they don't have that mental capacity. On the other side of things, you have guys that you absolutely love that just don't have the physical qualities of this. A comparison that I have been thinking of the whole time you guys have been talking about Kyer and Trey, Harrison Phillips, and our boy Kyle Williams, right? Like everybody wanted Harry to be the next Kyle Williams, and he just wasn't. Like, he's a great dude. He was big. He was okay, but he wasn't that next Kyle. And everybody just put all that on him as soon as he came here. And I wouldn't say he's had a failed career or anything like that, but it's so unfair to take this dude. And I think it's almost selfish where it's we want another one of these guys. So we want you to be it.
Yep. And
it's all with good intention, but the pressure that mounts on these players to be something that they're not is crazy to me, So
it is.
Yeah.
And it's big in Buffalo, right? Because there's no other place where it's more insane. Bills Mafia, we're insane. And we are,
Yeah, absolutely.
We really are. And I think that sometimes our fan base puts an amount of pressure on young players, and not intentionally, but it's just who we are, and players want to play well. And I get that, but you're right. Not everybody makes that transition as easily as others in terms of the maturity factor to go from college into the pros. That part of it is somewhat of an adjustment in personality. If you're big man on campus, wherever you came from, and Sean McDermott's going to make sure he takes you down to the ground level again, sometimes players aren't used to that.
Mhm.
They're always used to being the best they were in high school, the best they were in college, and they come to the pros and everybody's good.
Yeah.
And it is a bit of an adjustment. But just think it could be worse. They could all have played for the Jets.
Nah.
And that brings you back to the character, like you guys keep mentioning, the fact that Elam was drafted in the first round and he
Mhm.
hasn't played in 2 years. And you wonder when he was brought in if the coaches goes to coaching too. We're like, listen, Elam, we know you were in this scheme. This is what we're doing. It might take you a season or two to get where you're going, but trust us. You're going to hear a lot of noise outside of the building. Ignore it and just trust what we have to say. And by year 3 or 4, I promise you're going to be where you're at. And then he's just going along for the ride, listening, doing the right things, following his coaching, and we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen. So hopefully it continues.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad ride, guys. If they can re-sign him for a small contract and he signs another 3 to 4 years because he hasn't done what we were hoping he would do,
Right.
but what we hope he does do.
It'd be like an Epinesa kind of contract.
This year, but not so good that he's going to command a whole bunch of money.
Exactly.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Extend them now for a couple of years, cheap, and then hopefully just takes right up.
There you go.
Guys, it is 8:47. We got 848 of you fools watching us right now. Thank you so much. Want to remind you that we are part of the Buff Fan Base Network and sponsored by 26 Shirts. Go to 26shirts.com. Give them all your money because they do way better things with it than you do.
Yes.
Guys, there was something that Uncle James actually texted me during the game or right after the game, and Harold Fuller threw it out here. Replay coach did great. How about these challenges, huh? Sean McD, 2 for 2, quick, decisive. That guy they hired up there, he's
Worth
amazing.
every penny.
Yeah. Give him the key to the city, man.
Worth every penny.
This has been a thorn in his side ever since McDermott came to Buffalo. He's just never been very good at these things, and he's always had people in his corner, and he's very methodical. But this guy, man, I hope it just stays what it is. But he had it down there. Flag was out. Easy wins.
Bing, bada, bang, done.
Yes, I love it.
It was
Just
nice. A big relief.
Yeah, blood pressure drops just a little bit. It's nice.
The only hard part is going to be this new kickoff rule that I hope that everybody understands the rules, because there was a touchback that happened in the Kansas City game where the guy grabbed the ball and he was in the end zone. They still called it a touchback. I think it probably should have been a safety, but they need to get these rules together. And I'm actually enjoying what's happening here with this new kickoff rule, because you get the ball at the 35
Rob.
or you got to return it.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
So was the individual in the end zone when he grabbed the ball?
It was McCole Hardman.
Was he in the end zone when he grabbed the ball?
The ball hit Jarrod. First, the ball hit in the end zone, bounced out. So it was a live ball. He actually kneeled in the end zone, reached over and grabbed it.
Oh,
with
touchback.
But I don't know if that's the rule.
It's like when you do the kickoff. If you're out of bounds and you touch the ball before it goes into the end zone, it's out of bounds. It's a
legal procedure.
Penalty. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like the play. It's a smart play.
But I don't know what the rule is. I don't know. I know it's a smart play. You would think that would be a touchback, but I don't know what the rule says, because there's so much that we're still learning about it.
And what's promising is there was some good kickoff returns this week too.
Yes.
So that's always good. That didn't take away from that part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the trickery, you guys, we haven't seen anything like we're going to see on opening day. I think opening day is going to be nuts for special teams.
Oh yeah.
It's
over under how many pitchbacks on the first week one.
Well, that's the big conversation right now, is no one's showing anything.
Well, yeah,
Right.
of course.
They don't want to show anything. But at the same time, like Bills were getting knocked because Bass kicked it out of the back of the end zone, and you kind of got to practice what's going to happen, but no one wants to show anything. I think you'll see a lot of throwbacks.
Swank, what I'm willing to bet is I'm not going to guarantee, sorry, but I would say because of everything that we might see, week 1 might have the NFL record for most turnovers in the week 1 season.
Oh,
That
there you
could
go.
be.
Special teams specific or just in
Special
general?
teams, no, altogether because of the special teams.
No,
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. I think it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty indifferent about it. I want to see how it goes. I do think that when I was watching the game, I was watching I think the CBS, Steve was like calling it with whoever he calls it with. And it was they flashed the rules up, and I think they had the yardage wrong, because I think they said that the ball came out at like the 25 if it went out the back of the end zone, and it actually came out at the 30.
35. 30 or 35. It's one of those.
30, I think it is.
Yep.
But
yeah. How quick did that flash up? Oh, get that off!
No, it was up during the whole kick, because I'm like, oh, cool, and then they kicked it out of the back of the end zone, and it was at the 30, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, they're trying to make it so they return it. They try.
Yeah, you're trying to punish the kicker for not placing it correctly, and then you're trying to it's it'll be interesting. Yeah. I mean, I wish the one thing that I wish they would have brought over from the XFL is when they brought the camera up to the challenge booth and they had the mic on the ref up there that was like, okay, you can see this, this, and this. This is why we're going to overturn it. This is why it stays. Okay, and there. And then it went down. I love that. Was like the only thing from the XFL that I really loved.
Yeah, because you're putting an explanation and you're putting accountability on it.
Yeah, it's pressure.
Rather than what they do now, and the plays decided, then the guy backtracks and goes, well, that was the right decision because of this. No more of that. Go up to the
NFL is still, we've got the chain gang still going. I mean,
bashing them this week.
Make sure those links aren't connected and stretch them out. Come on, guys. 10 yards is 10 yards.
My wife and I were watching tennis in the Olympics or whatever, and there was a ball that got called out, and they went directly to the replay of like the image that they showed with the chip in the ball, and it's like, oh, it missed by like 1/10 of an inch, and yeah, it's out, and it was like 2 seconds, and I'm like, why can't they put a chip in an NFL football? Like,
put a chip in each end.
Yeah,
have a magnetic thing running through the line of the field.
Just lightning around it when Patrick Mahomes has it. Yeah.
Problem is you won't have refs anymore. It'll all be called from the booth.
Yeah. Speaking of special teams, what do you guys think of Tyler Bass?
Good. And wasn't it good that he had a great game in the wind? I think that was very important for him psychologically, because that's the other thing nobody's really talking a lot about. But the wind was hell in that game.
Oh, yeah. And all you got to look at is the ref's pants when they're calling a penalty, and you see it go.
Yeah. But the wind was definitely a factor. And Tyler needs, after last season and then training camp, everybody's on him because he missed kick here and kick there, whatever. I was a little nervous for him when they started talking before the game about the wind. I'm like, oh God, I really hope he doesn't like miss a bunch of kicks, because that's going to play with his mind and all the stuff that goes with that. But I thought he did great. I was happy to see him hit it.
Yeah, if you watched him kick it and you didn't know there was wind, you'd be like, oh, look, it barely made it. Oh, it went left. But there was like you said, Robyn, there was a hell of a wind, and he recalculated 25-yard kick and a 49-yard kick, and those are pretty damn good.
Tasker said that the flags throughout the whole stadium were going in different directions. So it's like, how do you figure it out?
Yeah. He said at one point, I was listening to WGR today, that the flags were actually standing straight up off the end post. like those.
No worry, guys.
Like the wobbly tube men, like that you see at car dealerships or whatever.
Say, don't worry about it. 2026, there will be no wind on that field.
Yeah, zeros. Yeah, right, dude. It was just the way the hole is at the top of the thing would just be like a tornado at the 50-yard line.
The flags won't be going like that.
I'm glad that you brought Bass up, because he absolutely was somebody that I wanted to watch. There is a kicker on the team that I think we should be a little concerned about, and that is Mr. Sam Martin. And I know that there was a lot of wind there, but man, I'd love to see some more consistency out of that punt game. When he kicked that first punt, he came off the field. Well, the first one was good. The second one was the shank, but the first one he came off, he looked more surprised that the kick was good off the first one than the shank at the second one. And I was kind of like, come on, Sam, dude. Like I loved when they signed him, and he was the man for like a couple weeks, and then towards the end of last season it kind of got bad. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Should they bring in some competition here, see what's going on?
Well, the one thing that's concerning too is he holds, doesn't he, for Bass?
Yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's more important, right?
Yeah.
At this point, we got to be. We don't want to mess with Bass's like flow in his head, and the chemistry that he has with a holder, but we'll see. Yeah, I wouldn't care if they brought in some competition for Martin.
Yeah, if Josh Allen is doing his job, then we will be kicking the ball more than we will be punting the ball. So great point, Robyn. I'd rather have the consistency with Bass, extra points and field goals, than the 2 or 3 punts we have to do during the game. So he'll get it. I mean, this guy's been a professional for a long time. He's done well. I know he acted surprised when he had a good punt, which is funny to see, but he's been there. He's done that. Hopefully he won't have that many opportunities this year.
Yeah.
And
Robyn, like you said, if they go back to the 2020 season, they didn't punt for 2 games, 3 games straight. So hopefully we get back to that.
Oh man, give me that year.
Yeah.
What a shame to have a year like that with no fans in the stands.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was like a wasted season for so many reasons, but yeah. 46 yards per punt for the day. The wind moved the ball when he kicked. Yeah, it did. Tasker talked about that by the time, I guess Brian Moorman said, sometimes by the time they even drop the ball, by the time it gets to the ground, it's moved over like 6 inches or something. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's gnarly. And it does suck because like these guys come on the field for what, like 7 plays at most or something. And if you mess up the one thing that you do, like there's a microscope on you, dude. like it sucks. It's kind of like what we say about like how an offensive lineman, right? If they can have a horrible day if they let a guy get by for a sack, but if that same defensive end only gets that sack, he's had an amazing day.
Yep.
So there's different like perspectives to all this. Yeah.
None of that, Swank, but 7 plays, you're going each direction for half the game. So that's 4 plays per direction. You don't really get the rest of it.
Yeah. You don't get in a rhythm, right?
That's right.
Crazy. And you don't want to as a punter, do
you? Not really.
No. Yeah, right.
Hey, I remember
today. I was getting hot. I had a rhythm today. 8 punts. Yeah, you don't want that.
Brains out.
I'm pretty sure like the first game Martin was on the team, he didn't punt, right? I don't think he punted once. And then the second week it was like he did once or something, and he was like, "This is the best gig I've ever had." I remember an interview with him. He was like, "Yeah, Josh is doing great, man. Whatever."
Getting paid to talk to my friends on the sidelines. I'll take that.
Oh God. Yeah. Man, it's getting close to 9 o'clock, guys, and I really wanted to talk about this defensive line just a little bit. Maybe we could do a little flash super round about that, and then we'll probably close it out, do some final thoughts, and say our thank yous and our goodbyes and good nights and all that stuff. But Jerry, man, I haven't heard from you in a minute, dude. What'd you think about this D-line from this last weekend's game?
I was really excited. I know this guy only played 10 or 11 plays, Gable Stevenson, but he's got to learn to separate himself from the guys a little bit more, but he had an engine on him and he was going hard and he's fast. His pursuit is good. There was only one play I saw that he kind of took a bad pursuit because there was linebackers in his way or whatever. But he, for a guy who's never played the game before, I thought he looked good, and he's going to be my sleeper because I think he's going to make a name for himself and be kind of like Zimmer was a couple years ago, just a guy who has a high energy that never quits, that wants to play the game, that's going to be nothing but positive on the field when he's there, and a high engine. And Gable Stevenson was the guy I enjoyed watching his go get it type of mentality.
Yeah. Dude had a motor. He was motivated. I don't know. I wasn't mad about a lot of these dudes. Solomon, man, like, let's go.
Take my thought.
Go ahead, Scooter. Go ahead, Scooter. Give the baby its bottle. What do you got, buddy?
Right now, as I see it, Javon Solomon is going to be a third down specialist. Third and long, watch out. I mean, not only does he have the talent, the long arms, he's short in stature, but he's got long ass arms, pardon the language.
Yes, he does. No,
Yeah.
he does.
But he not only put pressure on the quarterback, didn't get a sack, but pressure, and respected the run. There was a lot of times, a lot of these defensive ends we saw get beat on the bootleg, caught out of position. Solomon held back, put the blocker down, and and he kept his edge. So he's an exciting guy to watch. He knows how to get the quarterback, look up his stats in college for quarterback sacks. But just the cerebral part of it, he knew and understood that defensive end position, didn't over pursue. Many times he was like one of those guys that was by the tackle, didn't necessarily make the tackle. So he's a guy that Von Miller is going to probably put in the side pocket and say, hey, listen, buddy, you're going to be something special here in Buffalo. He may not get 25% of the snaps this year, but if he does, guys, he will be a sack guy on third down. I'm excited for this guy. High motor, like Jarrod said, for Stevenson, Gable. But I'm telling you what, this is the guy I watched. I specifically watched this guy. High motor, understands the game from a smaller school, but he knows the game of football, and this is going to be very exciting for him, for sure.
He's from Troy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was way impressed. He was way faster than I thought he was going to be. But he's got potential. And Stevenson, he's the guy I think that I saw in practice do this crazy stuff when he was warming up, where he was jumping like backwards and forwards on his hind leg, his legs going back. And he was something else to watch just in practice and in warm-ups. The guy that I'm thinking might be a sleeper is I like Zach Davidson, the tight end.
Tight end, yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
He just might unseat Quentin Morris. I don't know that he will. They might keep 4 tight ends, huh? If they play a lot of tight end sets, they might keep 4 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep that double tight end personnel, you might as well. And he's that long, lengthy, good catching tight end that, hey, I agree. He looks
and Morris is the grinder, right? He's the blocker and the grinder, but he also has good soft hands. Because I'll never forget him. He's played like crazy. I'm a good old University of Buffalo alumnus, and that guy destroyed UB when he played against UB in the MAC. Absolutely destroyed UB. It was hard to take. So Quentin Morris, when he got on our team, I was pretty glad. But Zach Davidson, I don't know how you could stash him on the practice squad.
Yeah, he'll probably get snaked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, it's overtime. Adam, it's overtime. Bruce,
overtime.
It's overtime. Scooter, I think you started something with the boop now, man. Like everybody likes the boop. Let's see here. Guys, it is in fact overtime, and that means we went over our time at 9:00, and it's because we're unprofessional, but Buff fan base lets us slide, and we go a little longer, and it's okay. What we'd like to do at this moment is thank every single one of you for tuning in. 974 of you on an off-season show. How great is that? And all the great comments and questions and well wishes and takes, and thank you so much. And Robyn, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Anytime.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back. Right now, we go around the circle and we have our final thoughts. We'd like to hand it off to you to go first. What your final thought of the evening is. Please follow Robyn at Robyn Mundy, WYO on Twitter, aka X. And Robyn, go ahead and take it away.
Well, it's kind of a thought, but it doesn't have to do with the Bills. We're playing the Steelers. We didn't get a chance to talk much about the upcoming stuff with the Steelers, and I just want to put it out there. Pay attention to the Steelers, you guys, because I watched that game against the Texans, and I thought the Steelers looked like they're going to be a team that are going to give people problems this year.
Mm.
The thing is, they don't have to improve that much, and they already improved a ton at quarterback with the 2 guys they got. Like compared to what they had last year. And we were talking about what, a couple of weeks ago, boys. Like, this is a team that, like, defensively is always in it, and that offense was almost laughable last season to a lot of people. But now you took the one thing that was the glaring problem and you replaced it with two people that have, one, a lot of years, and two, a lot of physical traits and some quality starting time in the NFL. And it might just be enough to really keep them super relevant, like, all the way through, and be a pain in people's head.
A mess again. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all going to beat each other up, I hope.
Good.
I laugh because there's a meme out there that says, if you weren't with us when we were 9-8, why would you still be with us when we're 9-8? Because that's all they finished.
I sent that to you guys in the messenger, man. It's like a picture. It's a picture of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna be good. I think if they stay healthy, they're gonna be a force to reckon with. And we'll find out, won't we, in this second preseason game?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, Jerry, what do you got for a final thought tonight, buddy?
Yeah, to tag along with what Robyn said, we play Pittsburgh. We've played them quite a bit the last couple seasons. So this is a game that we're actually familiar with. We're a team that we're familiar with. So this is the game to watch for preseason if you're looking for the number ones to compete. This is the one because we're familiar with the team. There will be kind of a better scheme. When the backups come in, that's when you're going to watch it fall apart a little bit. But watch the backups, guys, because, again, like I said earlier tonight, we have a great team. More professionals are starting to say, don't sleep on the Bills because there's something special going on again. And there's quite a bit of players saying that this is one of the better teams that they've been on. So watch what they play with the first couple series, but watch those 2 and 3s, man, because those are going to be what fills it in for the rest of the season. And get excited. Frank Gore and Davis there are going to be fighting for number 2. It's good to see Ty Johnson back, but those two guys are going to be fighting for a spot, and they're going to get after it. So that's my spotlight. I can't wait to watch those two running backs go. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Surprise, surprise, a running back take from Jerry Reed. I can't believe it. Oh, awesome stuff, man. Scooter Goot, what do you got, buddy?
It's hard to tell people to watch specific positions in preseason, and because a lot of fans watch the game to watch the game. What did they lose? They got their butts kicked. But I encourage you to pick a spot where you know there are certain positions on the bubble and watch those particular players. You're going to find yourself in situations, guys, where there's going to be a highlighted player that's playing with a bunch of people that are not going to make the roster. That highlighted player might not make all the stops, all the tackles, all the rushing yards, all the catches, but they may be someone that stands out in the right spot. Made themselves available to be in the right position. Those are the ones you're watching for right now. That's what the Bills are watching because they don't come in with a specific scheme. Josh Allen alluded to it. They don't come in with a game plan based on what they saw watching film. I think Coach McDermott does a great job in saying, let's go play 4-3 defense football. Let's go play our basic Buffalo Bills offense football, and let's see who shows out then. You're not going to find a full group effort. Team efforts are hard to find in preseason. It's individual efforts. Specifically watch some players that are on the bubble, and you'll have a lot more fun watching these games. Like I said in the beginning of the show, the Bills went 0-16 in their preseason games the 4 years they made the Super Bowl. It's not about winning games. It's about evaluating talent, and that's what you got to do here. So whether you like red, white, and blue, or you're in the meat and the potatoes of the stuff, pick a couple players that you are a fan of and just watch them. That makes the game a lot more fun.
Good takes, good perspective. I like that, man. It's hard for people to see past the team aspect of it, I guess, right? Because you're like so used to rooting for the team.
Half the team's going to be cut. Half the team's going to be cut.
Literally half. Yeah. By what? The last preseason game, right? Right after the last preseason game. So yeah, I like that, man. Good take.
Yeah,
good take all around.
That cut, now it's like boom.
Yeah. Now it's over. Which, like, in some respects, I'm like, okay, so now these guys got a little bit more time to shine. If maybe they weren't quite as polished in the beginning, they got a little bit more of a shot. But then it's just, like, super devastating. It's like unemployment all over the place. Holy.
Me and 20 other guys.
It's a scramble for sure.
Yeah. At least they're not doing it by themselves. They have a group of people walking out at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes it better, but maybe. Guys, my final thought. We got to watch the Buffalo Bills play a game. Like, that's cool, man. you know, and it was kind of nice not having a lot of like win-loss pressure, I think, like watching this game and being like, you know, you could get frustrated or like a little aggravated or something at certain little things, but it's not like it ruined your whole week or anything, right? Or it was devastating to our playoff chances or something like that. It was just really fun to see the guys suit up and be out there and compete, man, positionally and as a unit. So, you know, I say it almost every single episode, and I'm going to say it now. Appreciate what we got. There was times that were not as fun as what they are right now. We didn't have a Josh Allen. We didn't have a Shakir. We didn't have these guys that like get us pumped and get us to the playoffs consistently and hopefully again for another year. And, you know, unfortunately, those times aren't going to last, but they hopefully will last for a long time. So just be in the moment. Appreciate the time you got. Appreciate the friends and the fam that you got right here in this chat and right here at Buff Fan Base and right here at 24/7 BF, man. And just enjoy it because it's important to enjoy. That'll get you through another time, maybe down the road.
Yep.
Robyn, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, seriously, anytime. You're the best.
Anytime. I'll come anytime. Thanks, you guys.
So we go around a little circle. We say go Bills. I started off. I say go Bills.
I'm going to throw this out there. Robyn and T will be joining us at the Rager this year, August 31st at Reinvention Brewing.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a bunch of Buff Fan Base network live streams going on throughout the day to enjoy the show, drink some beer, eat some retro taco food, Tony's popcorn, some music, some live streams, a good old time to raise some money for the Help One Foundation of Mark Mannix. Blessed to have you, Robyn and T. We can't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go.
Bang out the buzzwords, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but sure, never for me. Now, sweet talk to beanstalk, tail jack, go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstand boy to